Nothing says San Francisco like the famous Golden Gate Bridge. And this foggy yet sunny weather is typical for this city in California. There are over 840,000 people living in this 47 square mile area, close to the wine country of Napa and the technological hub of Silicon Valley. But the city's population is only half the number of visitors to the city, bringing $9.4 billion in tourism revenue. Although San Francisco is 6 times smaller in landmass than Singapore, there are similarities between the two cities.
And if you think about San Francisco, its geography, very, very similar to Singapore. So you've got all those feel-good factors about the city itself, close to Singapore in terms of it's geographically defined. Land is scarce. When land is scarce and demand is high, that generally leaves good opportunities for capital appreciation.
The median sale price for San Francisco's residential property has risen 40% since 2009. Within these 2 years, the price rises have been substantial. Take, for example, the median sale price for a one-bedroom apartment. It has increased 7.7% this year to $721,500 US. Average prices per square foot are increasing as well. And it's not only foreigners, but locals who are driving demand.
These buyers include families who are investing to buy family homes or homes for their children. And they're also buyers who have jobs here, or buyers who have a business interest here. But it also seems like San Francisco buyers are comprised of people who see this as a good investment now.
Good universities in the San Francisco area are a big draw for some investors. They are mainly parents who want their children to study there. 2 of the top 20 universities in the United States are in the Bay Area: University of California, Berkeley and Stanford University. And the privately run University of San Francisco sits right in the city itself. Besides that, the growing tech industry in neighboring Silicon Valley and continued strong interest from foreign investors are adding to the supply strain.
We also have strongly motivated buyers, not only here, not only domestically. We have a lot more overseas buyers. And what sort of makes the market more interesting is we have a lot more cash buyers. Maybe in the luxury high end, maybe 30–35% of the buyers are all cash. It's quite different since 2008.
And the market is certainly changing with the U.S. housing recovery. Take, for example, this 60-story luxury condo Millennium Tower, completed in 2009. It sits near Market Street in the financial district. This 1,633 square foot, one-bedroom penthouse unit was sold for $1.4 million US 2 years ago. Today, it's listed at $2.5 million, more than $1 million more. San Francisco has one of the priciest housing markets in the U.S. You will need at least $1 million US to own a home in this city.
The market's been rising over the last 2 to 3 years steadily. Prices are predicted to stay on an increasing range because there's a lack of inventory. Interest rates remain low, and it seems like the foreign demand is still going to be there for quite a while. So at least for the next 3 or 4, even 5 years, it looks like the prognosis is the market is going to continue to go up.
San Francisco's zoning laws restrict the number of new developments in a year. They also restrict the height of the building and how many apartments it can hold. But that isn't stopping foreigners from buying properties in the city.
San Francisco prices, relative to world prices, are pretty low. Even here in the United States, although San Francisco market is a high cost per square foot relative to other U.S. cities, it's still relatively low compared with the rest of the world.
Another property that's generating interest among foreign buyers is the St. Regis Residences in San Francisco. The St. Regis Hotel occupies the lower half of the 42-story building. The residential apartments start at the 22nd floor all the way up to the 40th floor. The property sits close to the heart of San Francisco, opposite the Yerba Buena Gardens near Market Street and Union Square.
We are right next door to the Museum of Modern Art, which is undergoing a really large expansion to open a year from now, or January of 16. And there are other museums. This is really becoming known as Museum Alley. There's other museums within a 3-block radius. We're also only 2 blocks away from our world-class shopping on Union Square. And we're also only about 6 blocks from one of our great new sports stadiums where our San Francisco Giants play baseball, and you can walk to it.
This 2,000+ square foot unit on the 30th floor is listed on the market for $4.9 million. A smaller 1,806 square foot apartment on the 22nd floor is selling at $3.75 million. But if you're looking to buy a rental property, San Francisco has one of the most expensive rental markets in the country. The median rent in the city is over $3,700 a month and still rising. But before you plunge right in, you need to be aware of a few things.
If we see a change in interest rates, that's going to have, I think, a large reflection on demand. And it can mean two things. It could mean that you need to be a little bit cautious about the market, but it can also mean, too, that there may be some opportunities. Tax is a big thing to look at, too. It's very different to Asia.
Remember also that San Francisco lies along the San Andreas Fault, making it prone to earthquakes. While newer residential buildings do meet seismic building codes, the city doesn't enforce the regulations on older buildings. So for investors, here are a few tips you need to take note of. Hire a building inspector. Check with the city's Department of Building Inspection to see if your residential apartment meets the city's seismic building codes. And consider getting earthquake insurance. It can cost between $2,000 and $5,000 a year for a 1,400 square foot home.